What happened, Corey, is you got some great pure cut of hair on, okay, and you're on the come on. You're on the come down now, and you're like, hey man, I'm looking for something to give me that high again.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, buddy. It's hard to get that high again. That's why it's hair on. Hello and welcome to level 82 of the Thoughts and Players podcast, the gaming podcast with bold takes and no strings attached. I am Jeremy here once again with my two compadres. Of course, I have David.
What up?
And I have Corey.
What up, fellas?
Whoa.
What is up? How's everyone doing this fine evening?
Energetic, ready to go, excited.
Really?
Yes, yeah.
Energy?
A little bit.
I'll admit my energy's dragging a little bit. This
day.
evening. It seems like a long day, but I will say the last time that my energy was dragging, I had some pretty good fun. So I'm looking forward to what loss or absence of energy brings good vibes and good fun this episode.
Are you rushing or are you dragging?
Oh boy.
Do you guys either? You guys see that movie?
No. Is that
Dang,
hold on? Is that Cars?
No.
Okay.
This guys, Jeremy, you're the movie guy, Jeremy.
I don't watch a lot of stuff.
Whiplash.
He made
Whiplash.
stuff.
That makes sense.
J.K. Simmons and
No, Miles Teller.
Miles Teller.
Yeah.
Amazing. I watched it like 6 years ago, so it's not new, but it pops up on TikTok, the scenes, and I can't stop watching them.
It's great.
such
I
an engaging-
cannot stand that because I'll watch this amazing clip and either they don't say what the movie is and they do say what the movie is and I just scroll to the next one and completely forget.
Well, Whiplash, great movie. Both of you should check it out. J.K. Simmons is one of the greatest non superhero or sci-fi villains of all time.
He won an Oscar for that movie.
Oh yeah, did he?
Yeah.
Okay, he deserved it.
Yeah.
Deserved it. Amazing performance.
100%.
Is that who I think it is?
It's
Parker.
Yeah,
Okay, that's who I thought it was.
100%. Or We Are Farmers. Maybe his most known.
Or Juno's dad.
Also very well known.
What?
Just a quick side
I don't
note.
remember that.
Just a quick side note. Really interesting how time and a change of perspective on things really changes how Juno plays out in your mind after all.
Tell
these
me
years.
about it. Tell me about it.
Right? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, chickens, ducks, and hens, and those who identify as whatever, we welcome into this level of the pod, where we talk about games. We're going to get started by jumping into that, where we talk about what we're playing. It's a what is it? It is a segment we call What We're Playing.
Oh,
So, with that in
convenient.
mind, who would like to talk about what they've been playing?
Okay.
Who-
David, what you got?
All right.
Okay, so you guys know I've been playing Beatstar a lot lately.
Yes.
I unlocked all of the songs that you
Nice.
can unlock in boxes. There's still some in the shop that I can buy, but I don't feel like spending money on it. But now, I don't have songs to unlock.
Hmm.
How's
But I'm still
your
playing a lot.
ranking?
Yeah, I was going to say, are they still
Uh,
discriminating?
I'm still top 1%. I'm like 5 million off being the top 200, which is 20 songs. So I still need to spend money and I don't want to.
Just do it, man. Just do it.
Probably
he's going to
eventually,
end up doing it. It's an event.
but I'm struggling right now. So we'll see, maybe.
I feel like it's almost I can't remember if it's Thanos that said that. Someone that says I am inevitable. I feel like
Thanos.
that's David's going to Thanos that. It's inevitable. Yeah.
It's inevitable.
And we see
In due time.
the kind of movies that Jeremy watches, Marvel trash, and the kind of movies
I don't
that
watch. Hold on, really quick. Okay, you will not place that steaming pile of cinema on me as a fan.
You
okay?
should have aimed for the head.
I don't. Is that also Thanos?
That is also Thanos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably all
That
the
was
best
good.
lines recently are probably from Thanos. He probably had the best written lines.
That was a good movie. That one was good.
Yeah.
Like a quality. Okay, enough movie talk here. David, sorry.
That's fine. And Apex.
Apex.
So, the huge guys, you know.
Okay. Yeah, we like to hear it though.
Yeah.
We know what we're gonna get.
It's like your baby blanket. You just know it's there.
Or a good book, you know.
Yeah.
Or Seinfeld. You know what I'm saying? Every time David comes on here, much like Kramer bursting into the apartment and berating us with racial epithets, I know that David is going to come in here and it's going to be Apex. It's just I understand it.
There will be a day though where it won't be Apex, and like that'll be a sad day. Like I don't know what it's gonna feel like.
The way I feel now, I feel like it's gonna be when the servers close.
Jeez.
So who knows?
So like 10, 15 years from now, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. When I have carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
What about you guys?
I'm ready to jump into my games.
Okay.
As I mentioned, the previous level, I had bought 2 games. I had bought Baldur's Gate 3 and I had bought Armored Core 6.
Mm-hmm.
No experience previously in the series, even though these are deep into sequels, but they're pretty standalone. I would say you can jump into them and kind of like not need to know any information. But let me jump into Armored Core 6 first. That's made from Software before they got famous with the Souls games. So
yep.
A throwback to kind of like where they started a little bit. It's a very fun game. I don't play a lot of mech games, but I'm always intrigued. This one sounded great. And it is pretty fun. I'm having a good time with it. They give you a lot of ability to customize your mech exactly how you want. You know, they have a whole part system or a part shop where as you do the missions, you unlock more stuff. And there's a lot of variety. For one, you know, just the legs, I can get like a 4-tier spider leg system or even like tank threads or, you know, the normal 2, and they all play differently and you can customize them a lot. The head, the chest, the arms, the legs. You have 2 shoulder weapons, you have 2 hand weapons. So a lot of really cool customization for your mech in that game. It's not perfect. And as far as From Software games go, and like this is, you know, From Software games are usually Game of the Year type candidates. This is probably the worst one I played, but not bad. It's just I'm having a few issues with it. Now, you know, for the most part, it's mission. Not for the most part, it is mission based. You know, you click a mission, you go to it, you get out of the mission, you're back into a screen, which is obviously unlike any of the Souls games where, you know, you have this big world that's interconnected and you unlock shortcuts, and it's just cool to see how that world plays out. This is nothing like this. You know, you get dropped into a spot, you go and you complete your mission. A lot of these missions are like 1 to 2 minutes max, you know, 5 minutes. I was replaying a few of them to actually like get more money to unlock more parts. And yeah, there was some of them I took down in like 30 seconds, you know, so it is very, very quick gameplay. And for the most part, really fun, but slightly on the easier side. Until it wasn't. Until it wasn't. Great thing about Souls games is they have a very like steady incline of difficulty. It starts off very difficult and it just increases the difficulty and you never feel relief at all. But that's the challenge of those games, you know, overcoming more obstacles. This one, like I said, 30-second mission, take out a few, you know, bunkers or mechs, bam, take you out of the screen. I was riding along pretty well and I got to a boss and it was tough. Beat him in probably 4 tries. Played another 4 or 5 missions where like just easy peasy. And now I'm stuck at a boss who I just cannot beat at all. I've tried probably about 10 times at this point. And another difficult kind of like part of this game compared to the Souls games is Souls games, the motto is get good, right?
Right.
That's not the motto for this game. The motto for this game is pick the right parts and equipment to be able to take on this boss. Because I'm telling you, I went into this boss with, you know, my favorite equipment that I was using, you know, kind of a speedier build with machine guns. I really think it was impossible for me to win. The guy has a plasma shield that has to be taken down with plasma type weapons, which I hadn't purchased at the time. So that's why I had mentioned I had replayed missions because I needed to buy more parts because I didn't have those type of plasma weapons. And, you know, depending on the type of weapons you get, it might be too heavy for your legs or for your generator. So you've got to buy those. So that was a lot of replaying that just to get a build that I thought might beat this guy. And then with 5 or 6 more tries at him, I'm like, this doesn't seem like it'll beat him either. So the difficult ramp up, I I'm okay playing a difficult game. I really am. You know, I've talked about it. Last year, I beat a lot of difficult games, which was awesome. You know, something like Sifu was difficult from start to finish. This game is just very weird, where it's like very, very easy. I'm not getting challenged, but it's a lot of fun. And then it's like, hey, take this boss on. But I haven't been trained for it. You know, I haven't had to use these certain skills. So we'll see where this game goes. Like I said, I like it. It's a good game. But on to BG3. BG3, it's already been talked about with reviews. You've seen videos of it. It's an amazing game. I also have some issues with that one. I knew what I was getting into when I bought the game and I started playing it, but it's pretty slow. The combat is very slow, very methodical, and kind of just like, you know, move your guy here and he jogs over there. And, you know, if you have like 5 enemies and 4 of your own party members, you're watching 9 guys go through before you can do anything.
Right.
Oh, is it turn-based?
It is turn-based. Yep.
It is old school CRPG. It's
old school.
It's one of the weird things that I found with it being so popular. Like, this game embodies old school CRPG mechanics. So it's really interesting that it got so popular and so many people are like enjoying it.
And like, I knew that, and I don't have a huge issue with it. Like I said, it's just it's so slow. I feel like other companies maybe kind of rectified that a little bit. Like, I'm thinking of maybe Fire Emblem, where like on an enemy turn you do like 2 times speed or 3 times speed, and they just zip around and they get into their spot. I don't need to watch those guys move. You know, like, I can see the end result. It feels a little bit overwhelming for me. You know, such a big RPG where like I can talk to everyone. Everyone has dialogue choices, and there's a lot of different paths to go, and everything's available. It's a little overwhelming. You know, I want to talk to everyone. I want to do every conversation I can. I want to explore everything. If I play it like that, I'll get overwhelmed. I'll never finish the game. But let me talk some of the positives, because the positives are very high. The characters are great. The conversations are great. The decisions are great. There's been some really cool moments that I was just almost giggly about. We had a person who got killed by an owl bear, which in the D&D universe is a bear that's an owl, which is huge and deadly apparently. So he had like 3 companions who were like, we gotta run, there's owl bears. And my guy was like, no, you're gonna go back in there and you're going to fight. You're going to fight and avenge that man. They're like, we don't want to die. I'm like, no. And and another cool part of this game is a lot of these RNG things in RPGs are all done behind the scenes, right? Like, you passed it or you failed it. This has dice rolls, baby. So every single choice that I'm making, I get to see that dice play out, and that does not get slow or boring. It's always like a little gambling fix, you know, pulling the slot machine, seeing where it goes, and depending on your stats, you know, depending on like if you need a charisma, if your charisma is high, hey, you'll get a bonus to your dice, a +1 or something like that. So back to the story, you know, I passed my check, and I'm like, you're going back in there and we're fighting this guy off. So they all go in there and we all fight the owl bear together, you know, my 4 companions and the 3 people that came. And yeah, you know what? I got 2 of them killed. Like, 2 of those guys, they got killed. It was terrible. But the one lived. And she was like, oh, I forgot to mention at the beginning, they thought I was like their messiah or something, you know, like I was speaking to their god. So she's like, oh, thank you so much. I'm going to go back to the goblin camp now and speak of you. So I'm excited to go to the goblin camp, see what she said about me, and see like what that gets me in the future, because it will get me something. You know, I've talked to my buddy Eric a lot, and the choices are nuts. And I really, really enjoy that part. And that will be the thing that keeps me going. Those choices and those decisions and seeing where they lead. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
There is, I will say, there is no greater joy than playing an RPG where it truly feels like you are impacting the world and it's being reflected. And you can basically like take an action and then observe the domino effect of that action, right? So like
100%.
It's one of the best things. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm making an impact, right? The fact that there will be a story made about me for doing something or whatever, like, and the fact that you can go and see the people that heard that story and possibly hear it yourself, like, that's all a super. It's one of the best things about RPGs.
Oh, it's amazing, man. Like I snuck up on some guys and I kind of bullied them. You know, I thought I was going to get into this huge fight. I bullied them. They ran off. I got to this locked door. You can't do this with every locked door, but I did a big magic spell, blew the door up, went right in. You know, went through this little cave system and or this hideout and end up fighting off guys. I snuck at first with one of my like rogues, and he was able to get a couple pot shots off of people to get me an advantage. It was a lot of fun, and that's not even speaking towards the customization and the character classes, because there's so many. I ended up choosing a warlock, which, you know, their backstory is they made a deal with a demon to get their powers. So I'm guessing eventually I'll get to speak to this demon that I made this deal with, and that's like a whole little side gig that if I would have picked someone else, I would have never saw. You know, so it's crazy the amount of things that go on with this. Like I said, combat's a little slow. A little overwhelming in terms of the exploration, but you know, those things can be positives in other people's regards. Right. So both those games, thumbs up so far.
Quick question.
Yes.
Your character in Baldur's Gate, are they voiced?
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
I'll say this. The voice acting in that, I think everyone's voiced. Every single line of dialogue is voiced.
Yeah.
And it's really good voice acting. And
10 out of 10.
And the mocap on those actors, really well done. So kudos to Larian. Like I can see why it got such high praise.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. So those have been the two games you've been knocking out is Armored Core 6, Baldur's Gate 3.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Like Boulder Core 9.
Yeah.
So I'll move on to mine. So I've been playing a RPG that I would say is exponentially less thrilling and innovative, and that is Starfield, but I haven't played it. I will also say, offered some thoughts a couple of levels ago. I will also say that my opinion on it thus far, as I've progressed another 20-something hours into it, is shifting more positive. And I think that's just because I've been leveling up, so I'm just having access to more systems that are in the game. So I would say the number one thing maybe to fix this is to not lock so many systems away. It's really weird that you have to be at level, like, it makes sense, but it doesn't. Level 25, 30, 35 to like really start to get into the systems. So much to a point where I feel like, I mean, eventually we'll do a review of this, but I feel like unless you're like level 45 or 50, can you even really review the game? There's so many systems locked behind leveling. So that's another game. I've been still playing that game. Another game that I did start to play, an oldie but a goodie. I fall back to it time and time again.
NCAA.
No. The Sims.
Really?
I've been playing The Sims 4. Yeah. Really, really enjoying my time with it. Is it as good as 3? No. But I like kind of some of the updates they did to it compared to 3. I have 3 and 4. I've put twice as much time into 3 than I did 4, and I haven't played 3 in forever. So, but I've also been putting some time into The Sims because, again, I need to dumb it down a little. Starfield is way too intense at some points, trying to digest all these systems and how things are supposed to work and how everything comes together. But you know, that's been the two games I've really been working on. I did just notice earlier they added a new level to Thronefall, so I will be going back to that probably in a week or two.
Now, if I may ask you about The Sims a little bit, I feel like Sims is one of those games where like a lot of people play differently. Like, you know, some people might be there to build like real life families and see how the relationship plays out. People are there just to build really nice houses. Some people like just to get jobs and kind of like advance. How do you play The Sims?
So what I like to do is just kind of like free will it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Like just get a house and maybe I get a job someplace, or maybe, you know, you can do things like, you know, make money playing music. You can make money as a writer. So, you know, you can like write a book, or a poem, or I think you can even write scripts in it, I think too, and you can sell them to publishers and all that different type of stuff like that. So I usually have a sim do like an offhand thing. I usually go with a single sim, no family, because I just want to be able to mingle with everyone, right? And so that's usually what happens. And then I just wait until my sim makes a bunch of money. We live in one of the starter homes, and then sell it, build a mansion. That's usually the route that I go with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Nice.
But so there again, like, 'cause I'm gonna go branch off of my topic is gonna branch off these two games. So The Sims less so. I feel like The Sims is a game that's designed for you to kind of play in perpetuity to some extent. Not like not a live service game, but kind of like a live service game. Or maybe it is actually just a live service game. But I don't believe that's supposed to be the case with something like Starfield. You're supposed to, they want you to play it for a while, but it is a single player RPG. There is a point I was kind of reaching at, previous levels and still feeling it more so now, where I feel like when am I gonna be done with this thing? Right? Not specifically in regards to like I hate it so much, right? But just where's the end? I feel like this is never ending, right? And so I was curious with you guys in regards to like, have there been games you've played that felt like they weren't ever going to end while you were playing them? And then did you eventually beat those games, or did you never end up beating those games? Or will you go back to them later? So an example I can give for that is Red Dead Redemption 2. Like I said before, I ran around 40 hours in that game doing nothing. I want to go back to it and finish beating it, but I knew that I wasn't going to make any real headway in when I was playing it. So it's on the back burner, but it felt like one of those games. Like, am I ever going to end up being done with this? So if you guys had any games like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me too. Couple come to mind. David, you want to start?
Yeah, so mine, I can only really like think of one, because there's some games where I just wasn't interested and just skipped, not because it was like taking too long, but Resident Evil 6. Like, I played Leon's campaign and I was just waiting for it to end, and then there's 4 other campaigns that you have to do, and I did not even bother. I went back one time just to see, and it was like 10 years later, and it was I was like, I forget who I picked, but I tried to play it. I'm like, no. The Resident Evil 6, I'm a hater, I guess. It's so bad. But that's the one. That's all I can really think of for games like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was actually a pretty hard topic because I'm not afraid to like drop games forever and just be like, hey, I'm never gonna play this game again. So I don't really get caught too much in that kind of like purgatory or anything like that. But one that was a victim of the podcast, pretty much, or I was a victim of this game because of the podcast, was Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I know for a fact that if I was not on the podcast doing this, I would have dropped that in the game, because the combat, while fun initially, stayed practically the same throughout maybe it was like 30, 40 hours, which isn't a very long time, but like feeling like you're doing the same exact thing for 34 hours is a very long time. So that was one of those where it's like, I knew it was going to end. I knew when it was going to end, because obviously I've watched Dragon Ball Z, and I know how the sagas work, but it just felt like they for a fan of DBZ, it's a good game, I guess. But for me, even though I am a fan, they threw every battle in there. It's like, wait, why are we doing this battle? Just go to Cell or something. I'm ready for the big battle. Let me just fight the big battles. But no, I'm fighting these little peons and stuff like that. But that felt like it lasted a long time. Now that's a negative version of that. A positive one I have is my single most played game of all time, and that's Rocket League. It's not my most played series. I think Smash Bros is, but Rocket League individually as a game has over 500 hours, probably closer to 600 at this point. And I wouldn't say at first it was like that. You always go through the online kind of like cycle where you start off really bad, you get good, you get good, you get good, but then you hit your ceiling. And like me and Cody and Eric, we probably hit our ceiling like a couple 100 hours in, where that's like the best we were going to get. And I continued to play it for like another 400 hours after that. So that one really felt like, well, we're not getting any better. We're not, whatever rank we were, platinum or something, we're not going to move up to champion rank. It's impossible for us. We're at our peak. But like, we'll play it. We'll play it for 400 more hours. It was fun. I didn't have a bad time. A lot of it was like, joking around and doing impersonations and laughing and just kind of catching up. But that was just one of those games where it's like, it never ended. And I'm for sure going to go back to it eventually and put another 100 hours in at some point, a year or so from now. So That's another one. Those are the two that really come to mind for me.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, Rocket League specifically is like a perpetual game. That's like a game you're meant to just keep playing over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think if there's a perpetual game I have like that where where you're meant to just keep playing it. I don't know. I play usually just a lot of single player games, so I don't know if I have anything that's like supposed to end, really, or like it's not supposed to end.
I can give kind of another example.
Yeah.
I think fits pretty well, and this is definitely a negative, but I think the Pokemon series as a whole feels like that.
Oh boy.
Feels like that a lot. It just, especially like the last 3 or 4 games where it felt like didn't change. I'm doing the same stuff. And it's not growing in difficulty.
Yeah.
The story's not getting much better. It's the same concept. Like, I know they switched it up for Sun and Moon, but it was practically the same thing. You're fighting these idols. It was still like gym badges. It wasn't so reinvented so much that I felt refreshed. So like Pokemon since Sun and Moon. So like Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet. And that's why I liked Arceus so much, because that did feel like a big change of pace to me, where you're kind of like building up this town and it was a lot about focusing on catching. But yeah, the Pokemon series as a whole for me has felt like I have to buy them, but I don't want to, and it just feels like I'm stuck in purgatory.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting that you said that the one that changed it up was Arceus, because I actually had that sensation, which is why I pulled the eject button on Arceus real quick. I'm like, wait a minute. In order to clear this Pokedex, I've gotta catch 15 Rapidashes. No, thank you. Like this is absurd.
Right.
I'm out of here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I got to catch 15 of every type of Pokemon. How many Pokemon are in this game? 100, 200, 500, 700? I mean, am I going to have to catch tens of thousands of Pokemon? Are you asking me to catch tens of thousands of Pokemon? I'm not going to do that. I'd pull the eject
button. They kind of were. Kind of were. But to me, that's better than fighting battles that you're going to win. Because that's all Pokemon is. Pokemon is such an easy franchise. You're going to win the battle. So fighting mindless battle after mindless battle, especially slow. Like, Pokemon battles are not like the quickest thing. I turn the animations off. I put text to fast, and it's still like, rolls on out, and it's the other guy rolls on out. Do click a couple buttons. A tackle. It's just, it's yeah.
It sounds like I will say. It sounds like you're just complaining about the game. It sounds like you don't.
That's what happens. That's what happens. And like another one. The Assassin's Creed. Like, this is a good franchise question. Like, that was Purgatory. It felt like one after the other. The setting was different, but it was just like,
especially the what was the main storyline with Desmond.
Mm-hmm.
That felt like it felt like I'm never going to get to the end of this. I feel like we're supposed to get to the end of his story and never get to the end. You do eventually get to the end, and it's one of the most ungratifying endings in gaming.
Doesn't he die?
Yeah. he dies and becomes a ghost in a maze. I think that's what it is. So yeah, I 100% understand.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone else, or
I was sitting here trying to think, and I just can't think of another one.
So like David, something like Dead by Daylight, like at the end of you playing that? Because you haven't mentioned that in, I would say, almost probably a year or more.
Yeah,
really,
I
it's
just
like you were playing. Was that
got
like at the end of that?
bored
It
of
felt
it, I
like that.
guess.
Yeah, I mean that's
No.
Purgatory, right?
I still liked playing it when I was playing it, but I just don't have the urge to play it anymore. And it's upsetting because a friend that I met on there, we don't have any other game in common.
Okay.
But I just don't the game style, I just don't have an urge to play it. I
Hey,
might
fair,
come
man.
back to it. Like I still have it, obviously I guess, but like who knows?
All right.
All right, well, gentlemen,
Yeah.
I have a problem. I think and I need you guys to
We
help
know.
me. I have a couple problems. Video games.
State
later
the
on.
obvious.
This one's important. All right. So I talked about Armored Core and Baldur's Gate 3, and I did like them, but I did have a few negatives, which I feel like in a different mindset I wouldn't have those negatives, but I have the mindset of a post game like blues pretty much. I beat Tears of the Kingdom and I beat Final Fantasy 16, and to me both those were like A or S tier type experiences for me.
Right.
So what do you do? And David, you talked about this in the past. Like, hey, do you get sad after beating a game? And that's what do you do afterwards? Like, what do I do? Because like I said, these games, I played them for a few hours, but they're not connecting to me like those previous games did. So should I have gone something smaller or something like The Sims where it's like, where I can just play it out, or like a sports game? Like, what do you do for these post-game blues?
Well, I know for like The Last of Us, I was like really sad the game was over, and I just started again. So now I know the story, and now do I see any foreshadowing? Do I see any things that I missed? I just kind of jump right back into the game.
David's a maniac.
I have problems.
Yes, he's very unhinged. I would. Yeah, go ahead.
But like The Last of Us 2, I beat that, and I was like, that was really good. And then I came in here and started playing Apex.
Okay.
So
I don't know how any of that helps me.
Try to beat it again.
Well, here's basically what's happening, right? I feel like I'm kind of in that similar space. What's happened is, Corey, I'm gonna put this in metaphors and a way people understand.
Okay.
What happened, Corey, is you got some great pure cut of Heroin, okay? And you're on the come on. You're on the come down now. And you're like, hey man, I'm looking for something to give me that high again.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, buddy. It's hard to get that high again. That's why it's Heroin. Then you're going to try to find the next one. That may take a while. You've been playing other games to chase it, right? You're playing Armored Core 6 and Baldur's Gate 3 at the same time. You know what? That's also what a maniac does. David's a maniac. You're also a maniac. Playing both those games at the same time. You know why? Because you're trying to chase the Heroin. Okay? Look, I'm in the same spot. I've been trying to chase the high that I got from Ghost of Tsushima. That's a year ago.
It's been that long?
I have been trying to chase this Heron for a year, and I haven't gotten.
That was 2021, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or
about
2020?
that, yeah. 21 is when I finished it.
Oh,
right.
Geez.
Now I thought I had some pure cut Colombian. It was called Starfield, and guess what? It's been cut to crap. So I'm looking for the next thing. Right now, you have to. I would say maybe you start smaller to try to see if something like, gets you going a little bit, right? So like I stumbled into Thronefall. Thronefall had me going a good bit. I really enjoyed it. It like kind of sparked up a lot of me, right? So like my hope was that, hey, okay, now I got Thronefall. I'm getting into Starfield. Starfield's going to get me high, and then I'm going to go into City Skylines 2, and that's going to take me over the moon, right? That was my plan on how to end this year. It's not happening that way. So now I'm hoping City Skylines 2, I got it pre-installed and everything. That may be the next hit. That may be the next thing that gets me going. But I say you experiment with something smaller. Now, again, you got Armored Core 6, Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, that train's left the station. I can't now. I've put $130 into these two games. I can't.
Well, hopefully at some point, it sounds like Baldur's Gate may have more of the potential of like really getting you going. You might stumble into an interesting story and quest line that like kind of just really gets you excited, and you're over the blues now, and you're just flying in that. It sounds like that may have more potential than Armored Core, but I mean that's basically what you're exploring, how you're looking at stuff. I would say it's at least you're just trying to get over the blues. Right. So, it's smaller games that are sometimes, a little bit more focused, that are smaller, something, if you like it, something like, let's say an Inside or something like a Grizz, right? Like little games that can maybe get you going with something. They can maybe get your, you're in the too big game station. I would say maybe you lean into one of those and see what gets you going. Or like David suggested, you could just go back and replay the thing. You could do a new game plus.
I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't replay games like that.
They don't have a new game plus for Diablo 4?
Diablo 4 was not one of the ones I'm blue about, all right?
I know.
Shoot, what was I just about to say? Dang it, I forgot what I was about to say. You made me laugh.
But yeah, I mean, I guess, but that's again, go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, like, and it's not even the game's fault, because like I had mentioned before the episode began, like I put maybe like 5 or 6 hours, probably about 10 hours combined between the two. When previously with Final Fantasy 16, I was playing that thing like 2 hours a day straight for like 2 weeks. And before that, Tears of the like it was a month straight of just like a couple hours a day grinding these things out and having a blast. Mm-hmm. And it's like I can't even begin to give these games time. I start them up and I play for like a half hour. I'm like, that's okay. I'm okay right now. It's just I can't. But yeah, a lot of your stuff makes sense. That metaphor makes sense and not appropriate for younger listeners. But what can you do?
I mean, is it anything we do? It's
Heroin, And I gotta see where he's going.
Is that just heroin?
Yeah.
Well, we were trying not to say the word, but now that you did, see,
heron.
So
I think of a bird. I think of a bird with heron. Okay.
Heron.
So you had that, right? And now you're playing with Mary Jane. It's good, but it ain't that good, right?
Yeah, I mean.
So yeah, when that heron drops down, the Mary Jane will.
I would say Armored Core for sure. I think hits Mary Jane. I think for a lot of people, Baldur's Gate is just like some pure cut cocaine. You know what I'm saying? That's like
I said, the thing is, I just can't give it enough time to give it that chance.
Exactly.
That's my issue. So like maybe it is that next high that like will really hit me.
Right. The hope is that like you stumble into, so like for instance, like a reference for me would be, hey, I'm playing Oblivion, I'm really enjoying it, it's cool, it's everything I want, and then I stumble into the Dark Brotherhood quest line.
Perfect, sucked in.
Now everything else is just heightened. Like my enjoyment, I'm into it, and that's how it's going.
And that propels the game the rest of the way.
100%.
Okay. All right. I'll take it. And if that doesn't work, I have Spider-Man in 16 days.
You have Spider-Man.
God.
It's already bought.
It looks good.
Yeah, you have Spider-Man, and if that doesn't work,
it will.
You also have actual Heron. You can go if you
I do not condone that.
What, are you afraid of needles?
No one condones it. No one condones it.
I actually am a little afraid of needles, yes. So I don't have any tattoos.
There you go.
Can't do it.
That's like, I love piercings, but I have none. I don't feel like having holes. I'm kind of scared. But I'll get tattoos, obviously. Yeah, I guess it's certain kind of needles.
Could you just flash us
a little? Well, it's my tattoo, not my nipples.
A little further down, it would be. Just saying.
Well, you can't even.
You're saying I'm not having this be kid appropriate.
I gotta up you guys. Come on. So you ready for my topic then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
All right. So I was thinking today, and I was like, what game is your guys' favorite game that has combat in it, but it's not the main course of the game? For like, so like what I said for my example, like Street Fighter, that's only fighting. So obviously people like Street Fighter more than Mortal Kombat or vice versa, and that's whatever. That's the only thing you do in that game. But like The Last of Us, there is fighting in that game, and there's some fighting you can do and different strategies, and those are the kind of games I'm looking for.
I think you probably could have left fighting games on here, and none of us would have picked them anyways. I don't know about Jeremy,
Probably, but
Hey, here's what I'll say, just for reference. I will say, hold on really quick. We gotta pause. I gotta tinkle. I'll be right back.
How old is this man?
We're having technical difficulties. Please stand by. Thoughts and Players, the sexiest gaming podcast ever. We'll be right back.
So we're gonna hop back into it. Games that where they aren't like combat focused, but like we like
it has
the
combat in it.
Has combat in it that we like.
Well, no, they can be combat focused, right?
Well,
like,
I mean, there has to be. It can't be the main focus. Like there has to be like story, and other stuff. Like this isn't Resident Evil. You're shooting stuff and you have fights, but there's no fighting. There's something Resident Evil 4 kind of, but like it has puzzles and stuff like that, and story and clues and this and that and the other, and fighting is just part of it.
I think I misunderstood the assignment a little bit. Just a hair.
What do you have? It's probably good.
Okay, well the two that I think misunderstood the assignment are God of War 2018, where yes, it's obviously got a lot of other things going for it, but like I would undoubtedly say people think of the combat like first and foremost, right?
I mean, I think that's okay. I think
okay.
So how long did you play that game before you beat it?
Probably like 30 hours.
30 hours. And out of those 30 hours, how many hours were in fighting?
Probably like 28 hours.
Oh, wow.
I'm probably maybe not that much. There was
20...
a lot of like quieter moments, and but like it's a combat game. It's an action game.
Right.
You know?
Right.
We'll accept it. It's not the only thing you do, so we'll take it. We'll take it.
Okay. All right. So that's allowed.
Okay. What do you really like about the fighting style in that game over like another game? Why do you choose that game?
It feels chunky. Like it feels like it has a lot of weight to it, and it's fast paced. And the Leviathan axe is like honestly one of the best weapons I've ever used in a video game. It's got the Thor hammer, Mjolnir type of thing where you can throw it and recall it. And there's just a lot of really good combo potential with it, including after you throw it, where you're you change fighting styles where now you're using like fist and super up close, That's a lot of fun. And you also get other weapons. I guess it would be spoilers, so I won't spoil anything, but you do get other weapons in that game, and being able to switch freely between 2 or 3 weapons, including like the fists, it's a lot of fun, and it's heavy, and like I said, the unlocks that you can have with either like the frost damage or fire damage, a lot of fun. God of War is probably my favorite combat ever. The other game I'm going to talk about is right up there as well, but yeah, God of War for sure.
Nice. Okay. Do you have yours, Jeremy, or do you want me to go?
I do have some, but I want you to go so I can kind of bounce off of you here.
Okay, so one of my favorites is Hellblade.
Yeah.
And it wasn't gaudy, it wasn't terrible. It was not really described great, but it was easy to grab hold of and understand. And whenever I got into fights, I wasn't worried about being overwhelmed or anything like that. There wasn't too many people at once, and like you said, with the comboing, you can switch off between enemies and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. I wasn't avoiding fights if I had to. There wasn't really any sneaking around in that game. So Hellblade is one of mine.
Still got to play it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Well, I guess do you think that strategy games would fit into this? Because
The combat part.
Civilization.
Like you technically aren't controlling them as you are as far as positioning, but you're not actually like if they swing the sword or they jab the spear, you aren't actually controlling that part, right?
Well, I guess not then, since you're not doing the combat.
Okay.
Because like, because I was gonna wait until I was done with it, but I don't know if I'm going to because it is really awful. But I have The Witcher, right? Because it was free on GOG, and I started playing it. All right. And
the original?
The original.
Okay.
And the fighting in that game is god awful. I am not a fan at all. 0% interested in their fighting combat in that game. Now, the story so far is pretty interesting, but that's why I thought of it, because I can't stand it.
Got you. Okay. Well, let's see. Throwing.
Do you need to pivot? Do you need me to help you out?
I've got some other games, but I need to check and see if they're reaching the threshold, right? So the other one, I got one of them that I'm for sure is going to get an X. Okay. But one of them I'm going to say is Ghost of Tsushima. Does that work?
I mean, that's pretty close to like a God of War S type. You know, it's combat. It definitely has the other stuff, but yeah, if God of War is allowed, I would see David would give you.
Yeah, I'll take Corey's word for it because I didn't play it. But yeah, I mean, there's other story, and I remember you guys saying that you had to sneak around and stuff for some parts of it.
Yeah.
That's acceptable.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, Ghost of Tsushima definitely racks up there for me. The sword play is vicious and it's impactful. Like when you slice someone across the abdomen or whatever it is, like you feel the impact of it and the sound and all that stuff of it. It's absolutely great. It's one of my favorite things. I mean, not many games get sword play right in a way of where you can really feel the damage that a sword does to someone's body.
Mm-hmm.
And that game manages to do it some of the best of like any games that I've played, and so I mean that's not even including other things like there's archery that you can do, horse archery, you can do horse on a with a sword and stuff, all that stuff. But like the sword play in general, the fact that you can change stances, I think it has like 4 different stances that you can go to counter different types of enemies. All of it's like brilliantly implemented and used. So that's one for sure where I'm like, combats. There were several times I booted up Ghost of Tsushima just to kill people. It's so yeah, it's great.
That's great.
I agree 100% with Ghost.
Definitely acceptable.
Awesome combat. My second one it's kind of in the same vein as God of War and Ghost of Tsushima, but probably even more kind of not a good pick, but Bayonetta 2, which that has story, has cutscenes, so like, but yeah, that game's like nearly all combat besides the story part. But the combat's so good. You mentioned combat. I can't talk about my favorite combat, which is Bayonetta. It's so fast paced. It has such good combos. You can buy different weapons and like guns for your arms and your feet. And it's just the witch time system where like perfect dodges lets everything slow down and you just like kind of like go ham on an enemy. I love Bayonetta 2. I think it's a perfect action game. So yes, in this topic it doesn't really work, but I couldn't pivot to anything else, so I'm sticking with it. Bayonetta 2, great combat.
I might have one, and I know this is my topic, but I haven't played it in a very long time. But do either of you guys remember Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks? Because it wasn't just the regular Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
That one might be one.
Okay.
Because my brother and I beat it, and I remember, if I remember correctly, You have to walk around, and there is a story. And I remember it being difficult because people didn't believe that I beat the game.
David, no way did he beat it. That lousy
Uh,
good for nothing.
No, I'm watching I'm scrolling through a video really quick. It's a contender because there is
Oh,
like I see
boy.
this guy like he has to jump around the level. He you
Yeah.
know it's kind of so yeah, sure.
Okay.
Shaolin Monks.
Okay.
It was story and not just combat. And I know I said Mortal Kombat for an example, but those
Mhm.
are like the regular Mortal Kombat. Because I remember you asked what about Double Dragons, and I said as long as it's not Double Dragon 5 because that is like Street Fighter.
Right.
So this is a offshoot Mortal Kombat where it has story and obstacles and some fighting.
Got you. Okay. Okay. Well, I got one that I can go with my one that I think is going to for sure get an X and just see where it lies.
Sure.
Because the focus of the story of the game is a story of revenge. But most of the game is fighting.
Sifu.
Yeah, that game's Sifu. I mean, it has some of the greatest fighting ever put in a video game. It feels so tactile and responsive, and the feedback is so great.
Yeah.
I hadn't, as far as like hand-to-hand combat, the only game that felt even a modicum close to that, and I know they made a game, the studio that made Sifu made a game called Absolver, which is supposedly have a lot of the features. But as far as how I felt, the last game that offered that was Enter the Matrix. As far as just hand-to-hand combat feeling great. Sifu is like the best hand-to-hand combat feeling game around, but it is a story game. There is story, right?
Is there anything else you have to do in the game?
Nah, you're just fighting.
No.
It's literally just okay.
Just fighting.
Okay.
So,
Like,
literally
because you were getting
just
me
fighting.
with the story and the scenes and stuff,
yeah.
but you're not controlling any of that.
Right.
Did you beat Sifu, Jeremy?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that game's great. And something about Sifu that's so amazing is when you actually do get real good at that game and you're able to put it all together, you feel like a BMF. You feel like the baddest dude on the planet, where you're
100%.
just taking out 15 guys in a row, throwing items at them, sweeping the lay. It feels so cool.
And it feels like you're playing a movie, like the way you're able
John
to move
Wick.
around and John
Minus
Wick
the
or
guns.
something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that for sure won't make it. So I don't know if I have anything else.
That's fine.
I mean, I have a couple more. I feel like maybe they work. These ones work a little bit better, but yeah, I guess we kind of misjudged the topic. I almost want to like rerun this one next time to find like non-combative video games that also have good combat. But one I'm going to point out, like I said, I have two more. Marvel's Midnight Suns. I love that game. I loved it a lot, and it was a super unique combat system in my mind, where it's XCOM-like, where it's strategic and you're placing people, but everything's determined by the cards that you draw. So you don't necessarily know what you're going to be able to do on any given turn. You're kind of forced to like have the draw of the deck and see what you get, but you're building that deck yourself, and you're always bringing, I think it was you're bringing 3 heroes in. So if you have Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Captain America, even though you really want to work on Iron Man, you might not get any of his cards the first couple draws. So it's really tactical, where you're on the fly thinking, okay, how can I make these kind of combos work? Really loved it. Really, really loved it. And that does have other stuff. That has a lot of story. It has a lot of like building up the Abbey and kind of like getting new technologies. But obviously, it's a combat heavy, strategy game.
Right. I would say let's say I offered something. So technically,
you're just not going to get this topic, Jeremy. I'm sorry. It's just
technically, if I said something like because there's certain, it has combat in it, but it's not the focus. So I would say something like Skyrim, right? Where like combat is in it, combat plays a large part.
Definitely.
But a big part of that game you can beat without having to engage in any combat, just like using persuasion skills or using lockpicking or sneaking and different stuff like that. So, but when you're playing Skyrim,
did you enjoy that combat
in Skyrim?
Yeah,
bro. Look, you're talking to an OG Elder Scrolls. You compare the combat of Skyrim to Morrowind.
Yeah,
Ugh.
true. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, like in Skyrim, you could like behead people and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. I put
That's
that in
fair. David, you got another one?
No. But what you were trying to say earlier, it's a BAMF instead of spelling it out.
Okay. I mean, I'm just going off of McCoy.
Nah. See, I think you guys are doing two different things. Corey did BMF, which is bad MFer. Where
I did BAMF. I did do.
Oh,
BAMF.
you did do BAMF.
Yeah.
Okay. My apologies.
Isn't that what McCoy had?
Isn't that one McCoy had?
Yeah, Overwatch. Was that his thing? David? Is David?
I'm not an Overwatch.
What is David? What are you doing? Are you McCoy?
Who?
Oh, come on, David. You remember McCoy? Yeah, his name got switched for sexual assault reasons.
It was McCree.
Oh, McCree.
That's why I didn't know what you were talking
who is
about.
McCoy? Wait a minute. Who'd you just bring up with allegations?
The real McCoy?
But yes.
Okay.
I don't know.
The
McCree
was named after somebody from Blizzard, and they had allegations and stuff like that, so they had to change his name. So now his name is
Clint Cassidy. His name is Cassidy.
Anyways, Clint. Nice.
But yes, his butt buckle says BAMF.
And Nightcrawler has BAMF. I think
that I did not know.
Okay.
I think I'm spouting a lot of wrong facts here. I guess I'm not.
It's what we do, apparently.
It's what we do.
So the last one I want to talk about here is a previous game of the year for me. While we were on the podcast, it was Final Fantasy VII Remake. And that's an RPG, so I think this fits this category.
I've seen my roommate play it a couple times, so there's a lot of other stuff.
There's a lot of other stuff
than just fighting.
A lot of combat though, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I loved the magic system mixed with the combat. So they didn't. Original Final Fantasy VII turn-based, they wanted to keep that a little bit. So you would have a bar, the ADT active times something bar. I'm sorry, Final Fantasy VII fans. But when that filled up, you could stop the arena and do one of your magic spells from your materia. And I loved it. I thought it was, while that thing was loading, I was wailing on the enemy and doing my really spectacular sword moves and dodging. And when that was open and I could use it, that's when the strategy came into play. I'm like, hey, who am I looking at to hit, or who am I buffing on my own team? Let me think about this. So I really love the active time and the stoppage. I thought that was a really good combo. So really looking forward to Rebirth coming out February. So excited for that. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake, another favorite of mine when it comes to combat.
Nice. There you go.
Yes.
We found our way.
We got there. We got there.
It was rough. Yeah. It was rough.
Rough patches.
Well, you guys know what else is rough? Getting hammered and waking up the following morning.
Tell me about it.
Well, get ready because it's game time and we're playing Legally Guessin.
I was gonna say, like, your pick of games is usually pretty rough.
That's not it. That's not it.
Ow.
That is what is it? That is heresy. That is hearsay. That is all the bad things. Anyway, we're gonna play Legally Guessing, where if you guys don't know, it's the game where you have 20 questions and one guess that gets the mystery game that is in the person's mind. I will be bartending this version of Legally Guessing. So I got a game right in the noggin here. Okay. Once again, provided by Big Beard Josh. I spoke to him. He said to me, quote, "Corey seems terrible at this game. Let's give him one that's not as easy or as hard." So hopefully this is one that you guys can get. He has confidence that David will get it right. So
really,
so here we go.
Could it be Apex? It could be Apex. Jeremy's already laughing.
That is Big Beard Josh's game of choice.
Right. Right.
It is.
I need to add him. Like, we need to play. Why did I not think about this until now?
I don't know.
But anyways, all right.
Did this game come out in the last 20 years?
Ooh. Let's see here.
He doesn't even have the wiki page up yet.
I don't have it up.
He thought he was just going to freeball it.
I did think that. Let's see here. In the last 20 years?
Yes.
Yeah, so 2003
No.
plus.
Oh, God. It's going to be a one-off PS1 game about a military insurgency.
Okay. That was a PlayStation 2 Xbox. Okay. It's called Freedom Fighters.
That's funny. Okay. Is it only on any of the PlayStations?
Yes.
Good question. Good question. Is it a PS2 exclusive?
No.
It's going to be a PS1
Wow, you
military.
Right.
Oh my God! All right. I mean, it's got to be PS1 then, right? Like PS3 was obviously, or was it?
No,
Oh, it could
PS3
be PS3.
wasn't out 20 years ago. Was
No,
it?
it wasn't. I think it came out in 2006, PS3. So it can't be PS3.
Yeah, I think it came out when we were in high school, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay. So it can't be PS3. It's got to be PS1. Got to be PS1. Or when did PSP come out? No, that was way later. That was past. Was that past 03?
That was also high school / junior high. So
Is this a PS1 exclusive?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We had to
Okay,
ask
well,
it. We would have.
We could have saved 5 minutes there.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Josh, what do you got for us? Is it? I'm not gonna answer that either. Is it a racing or sports game?
No.
Good question though.
Okay.
Do you play? Is your main character a human?
No.
Ooh. No, man, I don't know if that was on other game consoles.
Is your main character the hamburger helper mask? No, I'm just kidding.
A very reminds me of the sneaking games.
So like it's not human. Should we ask if it's just an animal? Like I think that'll cover most of it. And if it's not an animal, then like it's got to be like an alien or robot.
Right. Is it an animal?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Do you destroy buildings?
No.
Okay, it's not Rampage.
If that's the only game it would have mattered for, why didn't you just ask if it was Rampage?
Because.
Yeah, it's more fun that way.
Yeah.
Should I ask if it was in a sequel of some sort? Like all these,
Or is it in a series?
in a series, yeah. Like it has to be, right? Like all these little cartoon animal guys got. It's probably just Crash, but could be Gex, right? Did he come out?
Oh my God, I completely forgot about Gex.
It could be Gex, could be Crash. I'm not hip to the PS1, man. Could be
Right.
Parappa the Rappa.
Dude,
He's
that
a
was
dog.
good.
He's a dog in the sheets. I know that.
Is the game in a series?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Okay.
Oh man.
Non-human.
I got a good question.
Go ahead.
Has this series had a new release in the last 5 years?
Yes.
That's Crash, baby. I think.
It's
You
highly
think
possible.
I mean,
10
Crash 4.
Got 11
Crash
guesses
4
left.
Let me guess it. You don't need that many.
Now
It's Crash.
it has to be.
Which one is it though? animal mascot game released. I mean, animal mascots aren't popular anymore, so like no one's getting games these last 5 years. Nobody.
Right.
I mean, we can ask a few more. I'm pretty confident it's Crash. Is this based on an IP?
What do you
it's
mean,
in
like
a series?
like a pre-existing IP outside of the game
not
itself?
a video. Yeah, somewhere other than a video game. Okay,
Got
So,
it.
like-
So you're trying to eliminate like Star Wars and
yeah,
Stuff like that.
Turtles.
yeah,
I don't even know if a Turtles game came out on PS1, but something like that. You know.
right. Now,
It's just-
do you think it's a trick answer? 'Cause like we asked, are you a human? Now you said no, but like in Twisted Metal, obviously it's not Twisted Metal because it's not within the last 5 years
No,
they
you-
had a new game.
you asked if
control
they're
a
an animal.
car.
You asked if they're an animal.
True. So never mind.
Does this animal mascot come from Australia region?
Yes.
What is Crash?
He is a bandicoot.
That's
I-
just the animal.
Thought it was pretty clear in the name.
I didn't know
Just
Bandicoot
saying.
was an animal.
He's a marsupial, I believe.
Like a possum.
He's a bandicoot. He's a bandicoot.
Nine questions left, I believe.
How are you going to figure this out? Is this the first game in a series?
Yes.
Go ahead, David.
Is it in the Crash series?
Just ask if it's Crash.
Is it in the Crash series?
Crash Bandicoot series.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
is it Crash Bandicoot?
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
It is.
Yes. All right. Let's go.
It is.
Let's go.
That was a good game.
Good win. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Again, I still had a few questions back. I was fluid. If I wanted to be an a-hole, I could have pivoted, had you guys guessing Spyro the Dragon, but I didn't. All right.
Come on.
I completely forgot about Spyro.
This guy
I know you
switched
did.
his games on the fly.
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yes,
well,
yes,
I
it
didn't
was
remember
Crash
it at all.
Bandicoot.
But that's every one of those things fit.
Every single one of those things fits Spyro the Dragon. Yeah.
They had a release of a game in the last 5 years.
Yeah,
I
they had a
think so.
remaster in 2018.
Yeah,
They remastered all three. Yeah, the first three.
I completely forgot about that.
Everyone
did. I got it before him. I got it before him.
Well,
Quick on the feet.
that
I'm
brings
glad that was
Nice
great.
work.
Great
Yeah.
pick, Josh. I'm glad to see that Jeremy's like influence is really wearing off on you. The further you guys get away, it's nice. It's nice.
Okay. Yeah, wait till I got the next one. It's going to be from this one here. All right. We'll see how
Can't
you guys do. It brings us to the end of the episode, which means it's time for final thoughts. Make a final thought about something that's related or unrelated to this podcast episode. So, who would like to give their final thought first?
Sure, I'll go. I mentioned this game a little bit earlier in the episode, but Spider-Man 2 comes out in 16 days, and man, I am so pumped for it. They just released a TV commercial for it where it looked excellent. All the trailers looked good. I have the collector's edition coming, which I will be posting an unboxing video for that.
You're gonna
For sure,
You're
so-
gonna forget you're one of those
David,
people.
we're not gonna get into this conversation right now, okay? You're wrong. I'm right. You buy things to enjoy them, not to have them sit on a shelf.
I do
okay?
enjoy. I enjoy looking at it.
You enjoy the art book that's in that collector's edition?
Yeah,
Yep, 100%.
Never seen it.
I've seen it online.
I don't like how you just hijacked my final thought. Spider-Man 2 going to be great.
It is gonna be great. It looks really good.
Sure that I get 10s out of 10s.
Probably 9s.
Close enough. I'll go.
Okay.
My final thought is, why does there have to be so much salt in my Thai food? I get this masaman. It is potatoes, curry, coconut milk, onions, and chicken.
Mhm.
And there's literally like 1,000 milligrams of salt in one order. Like that is a lot. I love salt. I'm not complaining, but I need to drink so much water afterwards to not feel like I'm dehydrated.
Right. And the salt just makes you hold on to all the water even more, so you have a little bit of bloating going. Yeah.
I thought you were complaining. You started this final thoughts by complaining. Why is there so much
salt in there?
And you just said I'm not complaining. You were complaining.
I'm not complaining that because I like salt. I love the taste of it, but I'm complaining that there is so much salt in there.
You wish that it would taste
if it was like
salty without being as salty.
Milligrams or something.
You sound salty.
I am very salty right now because I ate pretty much all of it.
Is this made? So is this like takeout? Like
yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know, man. A lot of places are really liberal with this, with the salt and the sodium. I don't know. You know, it's not good for you. Gotta figure it out. My final thought I can offer is that I believe it's been a month, possibly 2 months, since I was harassed by email by GameStop to update my payment method so they could send me my Modern Icons Jin Sakai. I have yet to receive it. I have yet to receive an update. So why was I being harassed for my information if you're not going to send it within the next 60 to 90 days? Am I going to get it before year's end? I don't know. That is my final thought.
That's absurd, honestly.
I know, right?
It can't
Why
be
even contact me?
I thought I was waiting long enough for my Scott Pilgrim Collector's Edition.
I mean, well, here's the thing.
How is that, by the way? The contents of it on the inside look nice.
It's great. I wouldn't have got it if I didn't like it.
Oh, perfect. Great.
Yeah. Corey, are you saying that when I get my Jin Sakai in the box, I should take it out the box? Or leave it in the box?
Can you appreciate all that it offers with it still in its package?
I have no idea.
I would say for some, maybe that would work out okay. They should open it, man. You should open it. Things are for enjoying. They're for enjoying. And out of everyone, I thought David would know that.
He likes to keep it. He likes to keep it pristine. He likes to keep it preserved. He doesn't want dust and dead skin and other follicles getting to it. I understand it.
You know what's easy to dust? Boxes. You know what's not? Figures.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually envious because I'm talking to two people that actually get their figures, unlike other people. You guys have figures to have and debate over.
Oh my God, that is very true.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Well, that brings us to the end of level 82 of the Thoughts and Players podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast service. We are on Apple, Google, Spotify, everywhere else. You can also like and follow the podcast on the socials like Facebook at facebook.com/Thoughts and Players. Like it's all one word. We are on TikTok at Thoughts Players, Instagram at Thoughts.Players, Twitter or X at Thoughts Player 2. And we are on YouTube where we upload video versions of the podcast. Also, we have a Patreon. If you're digging your boys and you want to support, head on over to the Patreon where you can check it out. We have 257, 157, 13, whatever it is. We have 3 tiers of memberships you can check out, get a bunch of different types of goodies. Again, we do a lot of reviews. I've said it before, I'm saying it again, but it's going to come. The Kena Bridge of Spirits review is going to be there. So you'll check that out there. But then also we got merch. If you want to check out something like this phone case right here, I would say the phone case, great value. The iPhone, less great. Go ahead and check that out. We got that there. But that is it for me. Fellas, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Goodbye.
Peace.
That's it. We will check you out on the next level.